Hello everyone and welcome! I took a little bit of a break, that's why there was a gap in between my videos. But now we're back on track. As I promised in the last video, today we are going to go through the history of my channel. I wanted to make this video for a while now. The reason being the fact that I am one of the rare few who got into YouTube with the goal of turning it into a living. Usually that's not the case. 90% of all YouTubers did YouTube as a hobby in their free time. And mostly they made it big unintentionally. I want to make this video to show those of you who also want to be YouTubers that it is still possible. Just look around you and learn. Now, I want to point out that I have never done it for the money. I knew this would be something I would love doing. And as the saying goes, choose a job you love and you won't have to work a day in your life. So in the end it was an easy choice for me. I don't care how much I make as long as I can live from it. And that is exactly where I am right now. I make enough. But some of you know that the journey that got me here is a long one. It's a journey that started 7 years ago. It all began with my brewing addiction to World of Warcraft back in the summer of 2007. This was when I tasted an MMORPG for the first time in my life. And just like any other teenager who ever tried it, it hooked me in with an entire new world to explore. Back then I was 13, and I remember how my mind was blown when I realized that all those other characters around me were real players. And as I played more, I slowly became part of the World of Warcraft online community. In the end, I usually played WoW while watching videos on YouTube. This is how it really started. For the next year, I browsed YouTube and I watched guides, tips, tricks and pretty much any informational video about World of Warcraft. The world this game has created was so huge that there was an endless stream of video content. Eventually I stumbled upon a site called MMO Champion, and during the Cataclysm beta times, MMO Champion featured a YouTuber who is now very well known, Total Biscuit. And he is the man who ignited my thought that YouTube can be a job. I started following his coverage of WoW news, his talk shows, radio appearances, and I realized that this man is not just doing it because he enjoys it, he also turned it into a living. And at that point I thought to myself, why can't I do that too? There are many other people doing this, and I always lived with the thought that if there are other people who achieved something, so can I. I remember 2 points in my life when I showed dedication to my plan of becoming a YouTuber. Keep in mind that both of them were before my channel even released a video. The first time was when I told my mother that this is something I wanna do when I get older. I even remember the exact place where I told her. It was at a convention for students who were picking a middle school. Needless to say, my mom wasn't very happy and she shouted at me that this is insane and that I should try to aim for a proper job. And I don't blame her. Back then, the idea of making money off of being a fool on the internet sounded crazy. The other time when I truly became dedicated to my plan was when I took a piece of paper, I wrote down my name, 1st of January 2009, and I wrote down the words YouTube partner. Except the word partner was spelled with the number 9 instead of the second R. Just another proof that I'm a strong dyslexic and dysgraphic. I did this to push myself. I wrote it down so I could remember what I wanted to do in my life. And ever since that day, I started working on my future career. First of all, I started looking at other channels and I started looking into their first videos. I wanted to know what made them rise. I noticed that most YouTubers started with unique videos. Something people didn't necessarily watch for their personalities, but they watched it because it contained unique information. So I immediately realized that guides or tutorials would be a good way to start. Then I noticed there are channels that started covering a game that became popular later on, so their channel became popular too since they were the first to cover it. At the time, one of those games was StarCraft 2, and if you look at Total Biscuit's first videos, that's what you'll find there too. So my goal was clear. I had to make informational videos for games that had the potential to become popular. The problem was, finding such a game is hard. Originally, my plan was to wait for Diablo 3 or the Blizzard All-Stars, which later became Heroes of the Storm, to be released. But I didn't want to wait for an opportunity, so I began experimenting with the content I wanted to make. The very first video on my channel was me casting a StarCraft game. Not only that, it was my own bronze ladder game. and my computer wasn't powerful enough to record it, so I had to use the lowest settings. And try to imagine it with my 15-year-old's broken English. To make things even worse, back in the day if you recorded something with Audacity, it would automatically cut any silent gaps in the audio to save up space. So I had to cut the audio and place it where I thought I said it. Needless to say, it was a huge mess and I deleted the video in about a month. Then I released 2 different videos just for fun to see if they get any views. I even have a screenshot of my channel with them. The first video was just a compilation of funny moments from Doom 3. Keep in mind that Doom 3 was already 5 years old then, but I made the video just for fun. After that I released my first ever shot at a proper video. It was a guide for protection paladins during Cataclysm. It was informational and it was something no one has done for that patch. So it was exactly what I wanted to make. However, I had no idea how copyright works. So I used Bad to the Bone and Born to be Wild as the background music. Don't ask me why, I was 16. Also, my English was really bad, so instead of speaking I used the classic old YouTube text on the screen for instructions. In the end, I think the video reached around 300 views. I deleted both of these videos a bit later on. After that, I released one more video that I took down shortly after. It was a gameplay of League of Legends with one of my friends. In fact, you may know him as my very first subscriber. The reason why I took it down later on is because it was simply bad. I didn't really know how to commentate on a live gameplay, I didn't know how to go with the flow, and most importantly, I had no idea how to play League. I think it was my 3rd game ever, and I played Cho'Gath, my friend played Tristana, and together we were mid. Funnily enough, I remember no one in that game mentioning anything, because back then anyone could play anything anywhere. After that, I released a video you can find on my channel right now. I knew there was a video genre on YouTube that would always be popular. That genre was previews. As long as you preview something that is touching a currently popular topic, it would get popular. There were many videos listing all the units in Warcraft 3, all the champions in Dota, all armor sets from different RPGs, and all those videos had a few thousands of views. And there wasn't a single video previewing all the champions for League of Legends. So, that's what I made. And just as I expected, it got around 20,000 views. This made me realize something. All I need to make is videos I know will get views. And after I gather some subscribers and views on my channel, then I can branch out and do something different. Because a channel with more numbers will always be more appealing than one with no subscribers and no views. At least that's how it worked back in 2009. So I continued that. Cataclysm released a new PTR and they added new features, so I previewed them. After that I tried to do something different and I created a parkour challenge inside WoW. For this video I used a dirty strategy, which was not illegal I might add. Also a lot of new YouTubers did it back in the day. Because all that mattered back then were views. You could just refresh your own videos and ramp up the initial view count. The view cap from this was just under 300. And because there were no ads running on these videos, there wasn't really an issue. The reason why I did it, and the reason why everyone did it, was to give people the illusion that someone watched it, so it looked more appealing. And to my surprise, it actually worked, and in the next month I got about 1,000 views on it. The next video was a WoW PvP guide. I made this one because Athene hosted a contest encouraging smaller creators to make WoW PvP videos. So I jumped on the train for some free views. This video was really bad, so I decided to make it private. After that one, I finally released my first serious League of Legends video. It was a Dominion Kassadin montage. And just as you would expect, it was overly edited and just straight up bad. But surprisingly, it did well. After that I got back into previews. I previewed the new WoW patch and I made a few achievement guides. All of these are still up on the channel. Again, because these were informational videos and because they were unique, there was a guaranteed success. But Cataclysm became less and less popular and I had to look into other content. Luckily, Star Wars The Old Republic was released and that gave me some content. I didn't preview the game, but I made a PvP guide. That one was really bad too, so I deleted it entirely. Half a year passed and Mass Effect 3 was released, so I decided to preview some Easter eggs. Once again, this is the kind of content people watch randomly. A month later, Pandaria was in beta, so I covered the new monk stances. These two videos became popular because they were posted on a random Russian site. Now, before we move on, let me quickly mention the previous screenshot you saw. Back in the day, YouTube was far more customizable. You could upload a background that would change your entire YouTube channel. And lucky for you, I found every single background I ever used. The first one was this weird blue one. This was literally the first background my channel ever had. But later it was upgraded with a guitar, but it was still really bad. Then, when I made the StarCraft casting video, I updated the background as well. Then I released some WoW content and I updated it once again. Then, using the StarCraft UI, I made this. This is when I also created my first mascot. Everyone had an animal or something, so I created a worm with a top hat and a machine gun. Don't ask me why. I also made my first text logo using a random font and the tubes from Grobulus. And later I updated it with more diverse games. And finally, quite a while after the breaking point, I made this. This was my background up until YouTube changed how it all works. So, what was the video that launched my League career forward? It was my Morgana counterpick. It was exactly the kind of video I knew would be popular. League of Legends was rising and guides were popular. It was a guide, it contained a lot of information, and it was something very unique. Everyone made guides on how to play as different League champions, but no one talked about how to play against them. I knew people would hate my voice, but as I said at the beginning, no one watched it because of my personality. They watched it for the information. Morgana was considered very overpowered in Silver and Bronze, and people simply wanted to know how to get her. Also, these videos were about 2 minutes long, so you could easily watch it while in queue. On top of that, a friend of mine posted the video on Reddit and it blew up. I remember staying up all night replying to comments. And as more and more people came in, I knew I finally made my dream true. Some people thought I was Indian, so as a joke I said the thank you come again at the end of the next video. And as you all know, that's how it got on. But my journey wasn't over at all. In fact, the worst was still to come. My counterpick series was a success, but the demand was too high. I started releasing more and more counterpick episodes where I covered all the most overpowered champions. But the problem was, at the time I was a silver player, and my research could only find so much. So, as I released more videos, I made more mistakes in my research, and a lot of people suddenly left. I had a steady climb of subscribers up until 16,000, but then it stopped. There was also another YouTuber who thought of the same idea. He also made guides on how to counter champions. His name was Fourpaws, and unfortunately for me, he was better at it. I believe he was English, so people could actually understand him. He got into gold, unlike me, and he had better contacts. He got into a team together with Hazi, Foxdrop and Fi, and that boosted his channel quite a lot. While I was stuck at 15,000 subscribers for about a year, he grew up to 70,000. During this time, I started a contest and I let people design my new mascot. That's where this guy came from. I believe the name of the original artist was the Nice Zombie. Then I had a brand new idea. I came up with Teemo slaying Christmas. I asked people on Reddit if they would like to watch Teemo die every day for the 24 days of Christmas. And obviously, everyone liked the idea. By the way, this is why I love the old League Reddit. There was so much creator freedom, unlike now when you get banned for posting your own videos. So, that's what I did. I started posting a Teemo slaying video every day, and people on Reddit loved it. But something weird happened. Once again, there was another person who thought of the same idea. Maybe it was a coincidence and maybe it wasn't. Maybe I was just naive, but I believe he didn't do it on purpose. Either way, he started posting his own Teemo slaying videos on Reddit and he snatched more views than me. I am still proud of my creativity there, so if you want, you can still watch all of it. After this, I made more counterpicks, but the demand was slowly dropping. And although the counterpick series wasn't really doing badly, in fact the like ratio was relatively good. I kept losing subscribers with every video release, and that made me lose my flow. You can see that the views started dropping with each episode. Half a year later, I tried to innovate again. I came up with something new. I knew from the feedback that a lot of people hated my accent. I honestly can't blame them, even now it's bad. So I came up with Time Freeze. This was a series I loved working on. Not a lot of people knew how to use the camera system at the time. Fortunately, I did. So I just froze the game, repositioned the camera and took some cinematic shots. Because no one knew how I managed to do it. It was mind-blowing for most of the viewers. So the first episode of Time Freeze was a huge success after a year of slow decay. This was a tiny spark at the end of a long dark tunnel. For the next 2 years I kept releasing more counterpicks, which became less and less popular, and more Time Freezes, which also dropped in views. I even came back with Teemo slaying, although this time it was a weekly thing. And one of them was my favorite creative video. Just have a look at this.
Don't mind if I do. Deal 'em. Pick a card. All or nothing.
Trifling gnome! Your arrogance will be your undoing!
That's gotta sting.
Looks like trouble.
You face Jaraxxus, Eladar Lord of the Burning Legion! Oblivion! You face Jaraxxus,
I got this.
For the next 2 years, my channel was dying, and I dropped back to 13,000 subscribers. My hope was slowly dying too, and I was grasping for new content. But then, I released my Use It Syndrome video. This was the very first video where I just talked about something League related. And to my surprise, since the video was nothing but my voice, it got popular. People related to what I said, so I made another. In the next video I talked about how you should stick to one champion instead of learning a new one every patch. And again, people agreed. I couldn't believe my voice, the thing I always hated the most, was what gave me success. Then I made top 10 easiest carries. And again, people loved it. Bard was released, so I talked about how Bard is an amazing champion all around. Again, people loved it. Then I talked about how much you should pay for League. That one was a bit controversial, but still a success. And then I released a video that kickstarted a new age for my channel. Riot vs lore. I knew the lore of League of Legends fairly well at the time, and I talked about some of the game's problems regarding the story. And even though talking about the lore just wasn't a thing around the League of Legends community, people loved it too. So I made a few more talking videos before I made the big boom of my channel. Top 5 most powerful champions according to the lore. I remember I went away for a week with my current girlfriend while this video was scheduled for release. We went hiking into the mountains while this video was gathering hundreds of thousands of views. This was a success unlike any I could even imagine. In fact, this video is the most viewed video on my channel to this day. And this made me realize that there is an untouched potential in the lore of League of Legends. So after that, I made my top 5 darkest stories of League of Legends. And again, the lore nerds gathered and the feedback was amazing. After that, I made a video announcing all future counterpick videos were cancelled because everyone is playing only one champion anyway. And right after that, Kindred was released and I decided to cover their lore, since the story was very confusing and there was a hidden meaning. And because people wanted to know what the story was about, they watched it. Kindred was my very first proper champion lore video, and it was the video that set course for the place where I am right now. Everything that happened after that you all already know about. I released my very first Necrit and Chill with Fox Drop, then Poppy, Mordekaiser, Kha'Zix, Jhin, the champions kept snowballing. Then the events of Targon happened, then Taliyah and Shurima, Yorick and the Ruined King, my first Know Your Lore with Fox Drop. And all in all, that's how I got where I am. In short, if people tell you that it is impossible to get into the YouTube scene, they are lying. I never was a part of any YouTuber group, so I never got any boosts. And even now, I am pretty much alone in this hurricane we call YouTube. I got where I am because I kept going forward for 7 years. And I kept thinking about the content that didn't exist. Remember that unique content is the key. You need to find something no one has done before. And if you think it is impossible to do these days, you are wrong. If you look at the League of Legends content, all you see are the YouTubers that make videos about it. That is messing with your view. You have to look outside the box. For example, League of Legends has over 100 characters, and yet there is no series even similar to Red vs Blue. How come no one in the League of Legends community is doing story machinimas? WoW was popular because of it, and even Minecraft had it. It is pretty much an untouched goldmine. But that's pretty much all I wanted to tell you. Consistency and unique ideas will guarantee success. As long as you believe in yourself and you stay dedicated to what you want to do in your life, why shouldn't you achieve it? Especially if there are other people who already do it. But anyway, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to rate it and subscribe for more lore, coverage, news and everything we do here. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Discord if you'd like to chat. Remember that our special merch is up only until the end of December. And if you'd like to send something in, the P.O. Box is in the description. Also, special thanks to our patrons. I can't thank you enough, you are just all amazing. And with that, thank you all so much for watching and for your support, you know I really appreciate it. And as always, thank you, come again.